Hi everyone, I hope you're all doing well. This is Zayd, and today we're diving into the invention and evolution of one of humanity's simplest yet most powerful tools, the pen. The pen is something we take for granted, but behind it lies a journey of 5,000 years of creativity, invention and communication. How did the idea of writing even start? Before writing, humans used symbols, paintings on cave walls, or carved marks on bones and stones. The pen, as we understand it today, didn't appear all at once. It began as something far more primitive, a sharp stick or bone used to scratch marks into soft surfaces. The very first writing tool ever documented was the reed stylus used by the Sumerians of Mesopotamia around 3200 BCE. They didn't write on paper, but on soft clay tablets. They pressed the stylus to form wedge-like shapes, the beginnings of cuneiform script. The stylus was made from reed plants, cut into a pointed or flat edge. To make consistent markings, this tool was silent, but it carried the voices of kings, priests, merchants, and everyday workers of ancient cities like Ur and Lagash. Interestingly, these clay tablets still survive. They contain contracts, hymns, flood stories, and even recipes. While Mesopotamians used the stylus, ancient Egyptians developed another writing system, hieroglyphics. But instead of clay, they used papyrus. To write on papyrus, they needed something new, a brush-like pen made from rush plants, dipped in carbon-based black ink. This was the first form of ink writing, and it marked a huge leap in how humans shared ideas. Soon, writing evolved beyond record-keeping. It became a tool of poetry, science, and history. By the 4th century BCE, the Greeks and Romans used metal-tipped styluses to scratch letters on wax tablets, a reusable form of note-taking. But even then, there was no ink pen as we know it. Before we move to our today, I want to say that this channel is user-friendly, no offensive content, no misinformation. We explain things with respect, curiosity, and authenticity. As ancient civilizations advanced, so did their tools for writing. By the 6th century CE, a new writing tool appeared in Europe, the quill pen. Quills were made from bird feathers, usually goose, swan, or even crow. The tip was sharpened, then dipped in ink to write on parchment or vellum. Why a feather? Because it was naturally hollow. It could hold a small amount of ink inside, and it gave the writer more control and elegance than earlier tools. Scribes in medieval monasteries used quills to copy religious texts, science books, and poetry. Every letter was hand-drawn, every scroll a labor of love. Even after paper spread from China into the Islamic world and Europe, the quill remained dominant for centuries. But it had problems. It wore out quickly, needed constant sharpening, and couldn't hold ink for long. By the early 1800s, inventors began imagining something better, a pen that could store ink inside. This led to the metal nib-dip pen. It used a metal tip instead of feather. More durable, more consistent, and easier to manufacture. These pens became popular during the Industrial Revolution. They were cheaper, and people could now write for longer without sharpening, but they still had to be dipped in ink. So inventors looked for the next breakthrough, a self-contained writing instrument. In 1827, a major step came from Petrache Poenaru, a Romanian inventor. He patented a fountain pen that stored ink inside a barrel and released it through a nib using gravity. It wasn't perfect, but it sparked a revolution. Later improvements came fast. Lewis Waterman in 1884 invented the first reliable commercial fountain pen with a capillary feed system, preventing leaks and blots. This made fountain pens the preferred writing tool of the 19th and early 20th centuries. They were stylish, refillable, and a mark of status. Students, scholars, and businessmen carried them in their pockets. Some even wore pen holders on their suits. a symbol of professionalism. But even this wasn't the final stage. A new kind of pen was on the horizon, one that rolled instead of flowed. By the early 20th century, people wanted a pen that didn't leak, didn't need to be dipped, and could write smoothly on almost any surface. Enter the ballpoint pen. This wasn't just a new tool. It was a revolution. The concept had been tried before, but it was a Hungarian journalist named Laszlo Biro who finally made it work. In the 1930s, Biro noticed that newspaper ink dried faster than fountain pen ink, so he wondered, what if we use quick-drying ink in a pen that didn't need a nib? Together with his brother Georgi, a chemist, they developed a tiny rotating ball at the pen's tip that would pick up ink from a pressurized tube and roll it onto the paper. In 1938, he patented the modern ballpoint pen, but the world didn't fully notice until World War II. The British Royal Air Force began using Biro's pens because they didn't leak at high altitudes, unlike fountain pens which spilled due to air pressure. After the war, ballpoints exploded in popularity. In 1945, a department store in New York sold the first ballpoint pens in America at $12.50 each. They sold out in hours. Soon, companies like Parker, Reynolds, and Bic entered the race. In 1950, Marcel Biche, yes, the founder of Bess, launched a cheap, reliable version called the BIC Crystal. It was mass-produced, disposable, and affordable for everyone. It became the most popular pen in the world. Even today, over 100 billion BIC pens have been sold. But invention didn't stop there. Engineers later designed gel pens in the 1980s in Japan, offering brighter colors, smoother ink flow, and less smudging. Then came rollable pens, which blended fountain pen smoothness with ballpoint convenience. Some pens were made for artists, others for left-handed users, some even for writing underwater. Today you can buy pens with erasable ink, refillable cartridges, stylus tips for touchscreens, or even smart pens that digitize your handwriting in real time. The pen has evolved from reeds and feathers to precision-made writing instruments used by astronauts in space. And yet, despite all the tech, people still value the feel of pen on paper. It's more than just a tool. It's a companion of thoughts, an extension of the mind, and a silent witness to history. Even in today's digital world, the pen remains far from obsolete. While keyboards and screens dominate, more than 20 billion pens are still sold globally every year. Why? Because handwriting has a human rhythm that typing can't replace. In fact, brain studies have shown that writing by hand improves memory, learning, and emotional processing far more than typing on a device. But here's something most people don't know. NASA once needed a pen that worked in zero gravity. Pencils were unsafe because broken graphite could float and damage instruments. So American engineers developed the Fisher Space Pen, a pressurized ink cartridge that could write upside down, underwater, and in space. Even today, astronauts use them on missions aboard the ISS. But the pen's influence isn't just scientific, it's deeply personal. Anne Frank wrote her diary with a fountain pen. Leonardo da Vinci drafted Inventions using quill pens of his time, and ordinary people still sign marriage licenses, birth certificates, and peace treaties using pens, not keyboards. Here's another surprising fact. In 2012, a pen called the Aurora Diamante was valued at over $1.5 million, crafted from platinum and diamonds, and used only on custom paper. But even a simple 10-rupee pen can change a life. A child's first sentence, a voter's signature, a poet's last verse, all begin with ink. From mud and reeds to gel tips and space pens, the pen has carried ideas across thousands of years, and it's not going away anytime soon. All the information in this video is based on verified historical sources. including The History and Evolution of the Pen by the Franklin Institute, The Story of Writing by Andrew Robinson, National Geographic Archives on Ancient Sumer and Egypt, NASA Fact Sheets on the Fisher Space Pen, Smithsonian Magazine, The Pen That Changed the World, BBC History, Extra and British Library Manuscripts, Museum of Writing, University of London Collections, US Patent Office Records, patent number 2390636, ballpoint pen. Like, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Thrones of Knowledge. And don't forget to press the bell icon to get notified on time. Suggest us our next topic in the comment section to make our journey even better.